So hello and welcome, and I'm here with David Holden, who is a CAM practitioner of 30 years, and he is the creator and MC of the International Holistic Cancer Symposium, which is happening this month in Auckland. And I wanted to interview David and ask him to share some of the highlights that are coming up in this conference, both with the speakers and the content, and then also some amazing entertainment that he's put on as well. Let's start with, why is it that you're putting on this symposium, which is the third time?
Sure. Well, thanks for that, Kim, and great to speak to your viewers and people out there in cyberspace. Basically, the reason I put this on is there's a lot of misinformation out there about what holistic therapies can and can't do with cancer. There are legal constraints as to what we can and can't say, and rightly so, because there's a lot of people out there, unfortunately, that aren't the real deal, that aren't helping people with cancer and are fattening their wallets as a result. There's a lot of really good people out there doing amazing paradigm shifts with patients like yourself, and we wanted to put them on stage and let the public hear what they have to say. And I've hand-selected all these people because I know personally what they do. I've known many of them for many years, like yourself, and really want to make the public aware of what is out there that isn't told to them when they get a diagnosis of cancer and trot along to their medical oncologist and are given very few choices about how they're treated.
So what are the main differences then, for example, to coming along to this conference compared to, say, if they were to go to a more conventional type conference?
Right. Well, number one, this is a lot more interactive. We value questions from the audience, so every speaker has a time allotted to answer questions from the audience, and every speaker has a different speaking style. So some like to have questions during their presentation, others prefer them at the end. But basically, all the people that are giving presentations are at the cutting edge of their particular fields in the larger genre of natural medicine and naturopathic oncology. So all these people have had experience in dealing with patients who get a serious medical diagnosis, and for some reason or another are given very limited options as to how it can be treated medically and what is considered the accepted orthodox view of treatment. And often, as many people don't know, oncologists are given no training in nutritional or environmental medicine at all, zero. And this is a huge area of effect with cancer and cancer treatment, the way I treat cancer patients in my clinic. So all of these speakers will be giving their slant on technologies that are well proven. We've asked all of them to make sure that the material they're presenting is evidence-based. That's not just an opinion. There's some research backing up what they're saying. There's some practice behind what they're saying, so they can show people that this is real and not pie in the sky. Take one person, for example, the keynote speaker, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's written 3 books, is an international speaker, who's been on the world stage for over 20 years, who's an ex-professor of medicine at a very reputed university in the States. He is bridging the new science with spirit. So what he's saying is, the new metaphysics, the new quantum biology is real. Here's the proof. He did his first stem cell research with agar-agar plates at Stanford in the 1960s. And when he did his PhD, he was considered a world leader in stem cell research. And he discovered that epigenetics, or the science of what's above genetics, influences genetic expression, not the genes. So previous to his research, the common medical thread was we're dictated to by our DNA. It tells us what we're going to be, how we're going to behave, what diseases we're going to get. And he threw all that out the window and he said, no, it's the environment, what we eat, what we think, how we live, if we exercise, do we do meditation and mindfulness. These things affect genetic expression, and that's been proven now time and time again over 25, 30 years with different scientists doing similar research.
So tell us then about the other speakers from the USA.
Sure. Well, obviously Bruce Lipton. We also have a personal friend of mine, Dr. Jack Tips, who I brought to New Zealand 3 times now. Jack is a certified board regulated naturopathic physician in the state of New York. He's a PhD in nutrition. He's a homeopath. He's very, very well known in the United States. He speaks very authoritatively on his three-pronged approach to treating cancer, using medical herbs, using homeopathy, using nutrition. He, like me, is getting outstanding results with cancer by not even looking at chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or in some cases when surgery is needed, we help post-surgical recovery to remove tumors if they're hard tumor masses. Jack is a dynamo. He's got a wealth of knowledge, a very sharp, incisive wit, and he's a brilliant speaker. He's really, really onto his game. So I'm very pleased to have Jack there as a second keynote speaker. Both Bruce and Jack will be at the conference in person. Then we have two speakers who were so busy they couldn't fly out to New Zealand for the event. We've got Dr. Alan Frankel, who I met in July 2016, and he allowed me to sit in on his clinic. He is a dosed medicinal cannabis expert, one of the top in the world, certainly the top 3 in the United States. And he's taking patients off truckloads of pharmaceuticals that are not working and giving them one of 5 variants of medicinal cannabis to help pain, to help nausea, to help chemo side effects, and in 3 cases of cancers to shrink tumors, particularly brain cancers. So he'll be talking a lot about medicinal cannabis and how it can be used properly. And this is very topical because, of course, this new government that we have, this Labour New Zealand First government, has said that they want to legalise medicinal cannabis this year. And so all the workshops are being put in place and to teach doctors how to prescribe this. And so we expect a very good attendance for hearing Dr. Frankel's research and what he's got to say about using medicinal cannabis. Then, and he won't be joining us live, he'll be on the big screen, but it will be live so he can interact with the audience. We've also got Ty Bollinger, who I know you know, and many people do, who've seen his astounding, groundbreaking DVD documentary series, The Truth About Cancer. Ty was a chartered accountant who had both his parents died of cancer and then 2 other family members to help some of his other relatives that had cancer. And he went on a mission and decided this was something he wanted to do. He's now produced a new DVD series called The Truth About Vaccinations. And Ty is a great speaker. He's very passionate about what he does. He's got a very strong Christian faith, and he brings that into his talks about faith-based medicine and how that can improve outcomes. And he's spent the time going and meeting all the key researchers and healers, natural medicine doctors who are doing great work with cancer, not using the conventional burn, cut, poison approach of chemo, radiotherapy, surgery, but using nutraceutical medicine, homeopathic medicine, live cell therapy, B17, medicinal cannabis, intravenous vitamin C, etc., etc. The list goes on. So those are the American speakers, 2 in person and 2 on the big screen.
Fantastic. So then we've got 2 from Australia. Who are the?
We do. We're very blessed to have an old friend of mine I've known for 30 years, Glenn Gillard, who's a very well-known naturopath in Australia and New Zealand. He's lectured to the profession and to medical audiences for many years. He's known as the naturopath gadget man, and he's right into magnetic machines, Rife technology, Tesla coils, devices that have got some science behind them that are shown to improve oxygenation of the body, alkalinity of the body, to help patients boost their oxygen levels and ozone levels so they can activate their immune response to throw off cancers by supporting their immune system naturally. He's also a master formulator for a range of herbs, polyphenol bark extracts, and nutraceutical medicines, so practitioners can buy these products and use them with patients knowing they've been expertly formulated and refined over a number of years. So Glenn will be giving us a demonstration with the audience of some of his equipment and how it works, and making some of those technologies available for sale in New Zealand to practitioners or patients alike who wish to use them. And then the other speaker, who's a relatively new one to me, who was introduced to me by Glenn, is Dr. Greg Fredericks, who's a Canadian naturopathic physician now living and working in New South Wales. He set up the Complementary Medicine Association over there. He's a naturopathic oncologist like I am, and he's written a wonderful book, a huge textbook on alternative and integrative oncology and suppressed cures, particularly suppressed in Europe and the United States, that have been reactivated by his research that works. So that's going to be a fascinating talk, and both these gentlemen are live, and Jack Tips, Bruce Lipton, and Greg Fredericks will have book signings straight after their talks to interact with the audience, and so they can ask them questions about particular cases they might have or know of or are treating at the moment.
Who would you say is best suited to coming to this conference? Are we talking more the public, or are we talking professionals, or both?
Mainly health professionals, because the information shared is relatively technical, but informed public, absolutely yes. Cancer NGOs, cancer organizations that have staff that are interested in this, informed public, people who are being treated for cancer that want to know more about how they can direct their own treatment, because I, like you, I'm a big believer in self-treatment and people setting their own goalposts for their treatment. People know themselves better than any clinician and any practitioner. So if they can self-drive their treatment, that's always a good thing based on really good scientific information. Many patients choose not to do that, but they still wish to be informed and to put therapies in front of their chosen practitioner team and say, what do you think about this? Do you think I should be using ozone? Do you think I should be having ozone colonics? Do you think I should be using B17, intravenous vitamin C? Is chemotherapy relevant for me with my particular case or not? If not, what should I use instead? So people who are informed, and most of my patients like yours are, we would encourage them to come along and get a higher education in what's available that hasn't been routinely available in New Zealand, and that's one of my goals, to help it become routinely available in oncology wards, in New Zealand hospitals eventually.
Yeah, so really it's about informing people and then giving them choices.
Precisely, exactly. That's what the whole modus operandi is of the event.
I mean, I think this is one of the things that I come across quite a lot, is that people just don't know where to turn. It's like if they knew where to go, they'd go there.
Yeah.
But we simply don't even know the options that are available, even though they're out there. And this is quite amazing. And so when you can come to one place in one go over a period of 2 days and get a whole heap of additional options that you may never have heard of, that is worth its weight in gold. So you mentioned Glenn and all his wonderful devices, and he's also going to be talking about ThermoBuzzer, which is another interesting device for assessing, you know, rather than having to do mammograms, a much safer option.
Yes.
And so tell us about the trade exhibition that's going on at the same time.
Sure, we've got a number of trade stands there, different nutraceutical companies, health companies, wellness companies, therapy group practices that have got stands there. Yourself have one, Clinical Thermography has one, the New Zealand Wellness Association has one. There's a whole range of therapies, products, equipment available that many practitioners and patients may not be aware of. Some of them are relatively inexpensive that you can buy and have the convenience of treating yourself at home until you get a successful outcome, and then you can resell the equipment if you no longer need it once it's worked. So there'll be a lot of trade stands there showing their wares, showing what's available to both health practitioners and the public to access treatments directly in the privacy of their own home.
And would you say, with your experience, that there are any other similar types of events that people can go to, or how unique is this event both in New Zealand and internationally? Right,
good question. Well, there's nothing like this event in New Zealand or Australia. We're actually taking this event to Australia. In the States, there's a few of them. In Europe, there's a few of them, but they tend to be fairly small. They're not large events. So, yeah, I mean, this is a unique event, and this is why we're so proud to be hosting it in Auckland and taking it to Australia.
Fantastic. So let's move to the New Zealand speakers then.
Right. Well, we have yourself, of course, so I won't repeat what your audience already knows about the work you're doing, but of course the title of your talk is extremely topical. One of the top 3 cancers in New Zealand is breast cancer, along with colon and prostate. We're the world leader in colon cancer, and your topic, the emotional intelligence behind breast cancer, I think every woman that has a history of breast cancer in her family or has been a breast cancer patient herself should come and hear your talk particularly. It's of particular relevance. And the emotional intelligence in all cancer messages that the body is giving us, we need to listen. So I'm very keen to hear your talk, and you're first up on the Saturday before Bruce Lipton. So I'm, you know, there's so much information out there that goes beyond the narrow box that medicine has put cancer into, that we want to help people understand they don't have to be a victim of their genes. They don't have to be a victim of limited treatment options. There's a lot more out there. It's a big omniverse, and there's lots to choose from. And we want to give people a smorgasbord of treatments that are safe, effective, have some science behind them, and work, that will give them better options, whether they need to go medical, want to go combined medical, naturopathic, complementary, or choose not to use medical treatment.
The other four speakers?
The other four speakers, we have, what do we got? We've got Professor Bill Watson, who's going to be talking about vibrational medicine. He's a very well qualified, very experienced senior practitioner who's got a wealth of information. If you go onto our website, which I'll mention later on, you can see his bio and all the other speakers' bios. Then we have Dr. Robin Kelly, who's an integrative GP, award-winning author, written 2 very good books, who is also a very talented musician, who will be singing and lecturing his presentation about mind-body medicine and the impact that can have, and how we can elevate our soul with music and speak our truth through song, and how important that is when you've got can be a very oppressive condition when you've been told you've got the big C. Who else do we have? We have John Ison, who's the editor of, or co-editor of the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine, who are our sponsors. He's going to be talking about his personal story with cancer and how he cured it with natural medicine. His wife, Catherine Smith, who's the main editor of the New Zealand Journal, who'll be talking about electromagnetic frequencies and their impact, and smart meters, and the sensitivity that many people have, myself included, and probably yourself included, to electromagnetic frequencies, how we can protect ourselves, how we can become aware, how we can get equipment to measure these things because they're unseen, and just being judicious in our use of technology so we don't overexpose ourselves to these frequencies, excuse me, which increase the risk of brain cancer significantly.
I know, whenever I see somebody with one of those phones attached to their ear, you know, and that you can, I remember sitting behind a taxi driver one day, and he had one of these, you know, phone things on his ear, and it was bright red. And I said to him, do you not feel that? Do you not feel the fact that your ear is completely red and hot? And he was totally unaware, you know, of the health consequences. And yeah.
Most people are, because this information hasn't been broadcast. Now, I believe there's quite a bit of research happening with many of the cell phone manufacturing companies are going to put chips in their phones to protect the user. But just using cell phones, for instance, never hold one against your head. You're crazy to do that. Always put it on speakerphone. Texting is fine. Don't carry phone on your person. Men are terrible at this. Women have a handbag. Guys, get a man bag. Learn from the ladies. Don't wear a phone on your person. I've seen some women wearing a phone in their breast pocket. Big mistake. Increases your risk of breast cancer significantly. Men wearing a phone in a hip pocket increases their risk of testicular and prostate cancer significantly. So just be aware that these devices do put out harmful frequencies, and you'll learn more about how to protect yourself and devices you can use to protect yourself from them that will be available at the event.
So just a couple of last things which sound like more fun things. The Right Honourable Helen Clark, and also lots of prize draws apparently.
Yes. Now, the Right Honourable Helen Clark isn't attending. She's being impersonated by Catherine Smith. And if you've heard her do this, she is amazing. She has the nuances, everything down pat. So she'll be tongue-in-cheek introducing one of the first entertainers on the gala dinner. The gala dinner is a separate event which we encourage people to come to. It's a 4-course, organic, vegan, vegetarian friendly meal with free-range chicken and fish options for people that want them. We've got, this is being done by Peter Chaplin, who is a chef to the stars. He accompanied Madonna on 2 world tours. He was a chef for Iggy Pop, for the Pretenders and Chrissy Hynde. He's a South London Cockney, got a wicked sense of humor, and he's passionate about healthy nutrition and organics and vegetarianism, and he will talk about this. He's giving a half-hour presentation before we launch into some of his food. He'll be catering the lunches, the morning and afternoon teas for the event. So all the food is guaranteed sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, and there's vegan, vegetarian options for those that choose that way, which often many cancer patients do for various good reasons. Then we've got three major entertainers. We've got the Improv Bandits, which are a stand-up comedy group that will be interacting with the audience. We've got Alan Watson, QSM, who's an award-winning magician, who'll be doing table magic at the tables during the dinner service. And then after the dinner's been cleared up and people are enjoying a coffee or a herbal tea or a wine or another drink, Jonathan Quinton, who you know, who will be doing a wonderful presentation with his latest research on sacred geometry with beautiful computer graphic videos done to gorgeous classical music, both modern and classical. And that is going to be the highlight of the evening. So it's a very, very fascinating gala dinner we have lined up.
It sounds like one of the best gala dinners I've ever heard of at a conference, actually.
Exactly. That was the plan.
And I remember doing a cooking class with Peter Chaplin about 15 years ago.
There you go. He ran the Musical Knives, which was a vegetarian restaurant in Ponsonby Road for many years, and it's left a big gap in Auckland cuisine when he closed the restaurant a few years ago. But he now is passionate about getting healthy food in kids' lunch boxes. And he's doing a lot of initiatives which he'll talk about, and people can sponsor and support to get healthy lunches into kids' lunch boxes at school, rather than this sugar-infested junk that many parents are opting for their kids because they're convenient and they're cheap and they're not good. Don't help learning at all.
Wow, so this is an incredible lineup. We've got about 11 speakers from around the world. We've got the trade exhibition. We've got this fantastic gala dinner, lots and lots and lots of information for people, whether they're a health professional or whether they're a lay person wanting to come for themselves. So one really exciting thing that I heard that you're going to be doing, David, is that you're setting up a trust. Tell me about that.
We're setting up the Holistic Lifestyle Symposium's Trust. 10% of all the profits from this event and future events are going into a trust fund to help fund patients' cancer treatments that can't afford some of the alternatives because they're not funded by the government yet. And we're working on that. Watch this space. And we're also looking at helping our client base select a family that really needs holistic health care, not just for cancer, but for particularly a family that has a lot of children that need supplementation, good nutrition, exercise programs, mindfulness. So we're looking at funding that for one particular family this year in South Auckland and encouraging our sponsors to do more. So we want to make a difference, make an impact with people that can't afford these treatments that really desperately need them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Great. You're welcome.
So to finish off, I'd just like you to give me what you think are the 3 top reasons that people should come to this conference.
Right. Well, number 1, get informed. Your doctor and your oncologist doesn't know everything at all. And so you need to come just to get more options. If you have a family member that's suffering from cancer or cancer yourself, come along, get educated. If you also want to know about if you're a practitioner, I want to know about the cutting edge technologies and homeopathics, herbal medicine, nutraceuticals, devices, gadgets, diagnostic equipment, treatment equipment, come as well, because you'll learn more about what's available. Some of it has never been seen in New Zealand before. We've got some really good technology from Germany that's being shown. There's demonstrations. There'll be lots of devices you can experience at the event. So come along and see what's available. There's a lot more out there than most people are aware of that can be very effective and very helpful in treating all types of cancer.
So this is fantastic, David, and I just want to personally thank you for your commitment and your passion to this topic, to this cause, and thank you, for putting on this event, which takes a lot of work, and for giving people, the opportunity to hear about this sort of stuff that otherwise they probably wouldn't hear about.
Exactly. And as a passing last comment, can I say, look, if you're watching this and you know someone that's got cancer, or you know someone in their family line who has cancer, please get them to watch this video. go on to our website, www.holisticcancersymposium.com. All the information about the speakers' bios is there. The program is there. You can also go onto our Facebook page, Holistic Cancer Symposium, join the interaction with the speakers, join the conversation, find out more, ask questions before, during, and after the event.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you next week, actually.
You're welcome, Kim, and I look forward to hearing your presentation, as I'm sure many others do as well.